If there's one certainty about Tracy Barlow in Coronation Street, it's that she'll always find a way to twist a tricky situation to her benefit. The legendary character has now uncovered the truth about Abi and Carl Webster's affair. For weeks, Abi battled her emotions while supporting her husband Kevin Webster through his testicular cancer diagnosis and treatment. But everything shifted once she discovered he had been dishonest with her. Rather than admit he'd been given the all-clear, Kevin allowed Abi to believe he still needed further treatment. When Kevin eventually confessed and admitted he'd lied out of fear of losing her, Abi announced that their marriage was finished and ran straight into Carl's arms. Since then, she has agreed to remain with Kevin for the sake of the children, while continuing her secret relationship with Carl. To keep their affair hidden, Abi has also been sleeping with Kevin, much to Carl's annoyance. In retaliation, Carl began flirting with Tracy, only to find himself caught up in far more than he intended. Kevin is currently on holiday abroad, while Abi stayed behind, claiming to him that her passport had issues and she'd join him later. This has left her with more time to spend with Carl, and in tonight's episode she wrestles with thoughts about what she truly wants for her future. Abi proposed to Carl that they escape Coronation Street and build a new life in Germany. Afterwards, she went to Tracy, who now knows about her affair. Abi confessed to Tracy that she never meant to hurt Kevin, but couldn't ignore her feelings for Carl. She insisted they were in love, and believed that starting fresh in Germany would be the best choice. Tracy, drawing from her own past, reminded Abi of her own failed attempt at a fresh start. She once left her husband Steve McDonald for Tommy Orpington, moving abroad in hopes of a new beginning, but it fell apart. She branded Abi and Carl a disaster waiting to happen, and demanded money in exchange for keeping quiet. Abi didn't have the cash, leaving her deeply anxious. Abi told Carl about Tracy's demand, and he wondered if they could raise the money by stealing more cars. A newly released trailer shows Carl recruiting teens Dylan Wilson and Brody Michaelis to help with the theft scheme. But things are set to go terribly wrong, raising questions about how this will affect his and Abi's secret relationship. Will Abi and Carl manage to leave for Germany before Kevin discovers the truth? Their story began back in April, when they first crossed paths in Freshco's car park. Abi's day quickly spiraled after another car crashed into hers while she was reversing, sparking an argument with the driver. When he made a nasty remark about her mood, she snapped back, explaining Kevin's cancer struggle and her own PTSD after Mason Radcliffe's death. Though the driver tried to apologize, Abi punched him in the face and left him with a bloody nose. Later that day, she walked into the bistro and was introduced to Kevin and Debbie's younger brother Carl, only to realize, to her horror, that he was the same man she had fought with earlier. Coronation Street spoilers: James Bailey busts Dylan and Brody mid-crime. In tonight's Coronation Street, Friday 5th of September 2025 at 8 p.m., check our TV guide for full listings. James Bailey stumbles across Brody and Dylan as they attempt to break into a car. Dylan grows increasingly uneasy when Brody tells Carl that the pair are planning to boost some cars today and hand him a tidy profit. But just as the boys are mid-break-in, James arrives and catches them red-handed. Elsewhere, Kit grows wary when Costello casually quizzes Lisa at the station about her evening plans. Over at the hospital, Roy, there for his bad back, is delighted to run into Evelyn, who cheekily invites herself along to Carla and Lisa's dinner party. At the bistro, Carla and Lisa are interrupted by a mystery woman who introduces herself as Tia Wardley and insists they've been looking for her. But what shocking news does Tia bring? Meanwhile, Debbie rallies her choir members, telling them it's time to raise their standards, and she's just the woman for the job. Across the cobbles, Theo confides in Billy about booking therapy to help sort out his head, prompting Billy to urge Todd to ease up on him. But when Billy accidentally reveals Theo's therapy plans, Todd is left reeling. Later, Theo admits to Gary that he couldn't bring himself to go through with the session. But will he be honest with Todd, or pretend he went anyway? With Dom's funeral now behind them, George takes Christina for a drink and bravely confesses his feelings. To his relief, Christina admits she feels the same. But their tender moment is shattered when her bank card is declined, leaving her in floods of tears. Coronation Street's Joe Layton teases Mick's possible return after shocking exit. Coronation Street actor Joe Layton has spoken out about whether villain Mick Michaelis could make a comeback following his dramatic departure from Weatherfield. Mick's terrifying reign ended last month when he was taken back into custody after staging a daring prison break. Although he initially plotted to flee with his family, things came to a head during a tense rooftop showdown at Underworld with his daughter Joni and neighbor Sally Metcalf. It was Sally's heartfelt words that convinced Mick his family deserved far better than life on the run, leading him to give himself up. But if he ever returned, could Mick truly be a changed man? Speaking on Soap Scoop, Inside Soap's brand new podcast featuring exclusive cast interviews every Tuesday, Joe gave fans an update. Well, Mick's still locked up and he will be for the foreseeable future because I'm working on a new project until March, he joked. So there's definitely no more prison breaks coming anytime soon. I'm not sure if a redemption arc is on the cards. The thing is, from a normal perspective, you'd think there's no way back for someone like him. But if you look at the history of soaps, plenty of characters have returned after doing awful things. So really, never say never. I loved my time on Corrie, and I've got nothing but respect for everyone there. We'll just have to see what happens. That said, I reckon it'd be easier for some of the other Michaelises to find redemption than it would be for Mick. Away from the cobbles, Joe is stepping into theater, preparing for his role as Robbie in Lost Adams, described as a wild ride through a life-changing relationship. The production opens at Leicester's Curve Theatre next month before heading out on tour across the UK. It's such a different project to Corrie, Joe explained. The play follows a couple who reconnect in this almost dreamlike memory space, revisiting their relationship after it's ended. It's about love, memory, perspective, the highs and lows that come with being with someone. And it really makes you ask what counts as a successful relationship. We're told through films and media that success means staying together for life. You meet, remain faithful forever, and die together. That's the ideal. But as we know, real life and soaps rarely work that way. Joe has also been nominated for Best Villain at this year's Inside Soap Awards, where fans can now cast their votes. Coronation Street airs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.